What's going on, family? I'm your host, Greg. This is my co-host,
LaQuisha.
and this is the Hallwaze podcast, where we navigate the hallways of life. Now, you may ask, what is Hallways? I'll tell you. Hallways is a conversation that we're having with you through these episodes where we talk about things from relationship, decision-making skills, all around trauma, and we give you guys the tools that you need to help navigate, to make right decisions, and pretty much overcome obstacles that we all deal with.
If you guys want to keep in touch with us or find out more of what we do at OIC, you can follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and you can go to our main website, oicsfl.org.
As always, navigating the hallways of life. Welcome back, Hallways family. I'm your host, Greg. This is my co-host,
LaQuisha.
and this is season 1, episode 4, Love versus Infatuation. What is the difference? LaQuisha, what is the difference? What is the difference between love and infatuation?
Well, if we're going to give it in layman's term, love is long-lasting and infatuation is kind of close to obsession when we're dealing with kids.
Okay. Right, that's key. And man, look, because we have so much, we have the privilege of being in the schools, right, and seeing thousands of kids and thousands of students and hearing so many different stories, right? It seems as if the kids or the students falls in the category of infatuation.
Definitely.
And not knowing the difference, right? So I think this whole episode is more so breaking that down and really understanding the difference, right? So why do you think it's so hard to tell the difference between love versus infatuation? Because some of them, they may say, well, Mr. Greg or Miss LaQuisha, it still feels the same to me. Like, how do you tell the difference?
Well, it starts with seeing their view on what love is and infatuation, kind of getting why they feel like that they're in love.
Okay.
And also understanding it from teenage. We usually go into schools from 6th grade to 12th grade. Mm-hmm. When you're talking to a middle school, for them, that's love. It's the puppy love stages.
Puppy love.
Everything is the cupcake season, as we like to say. And for high school, they feel like, oh, well, we're not in middle school no more. We done jumped off the porch a little bit. Mm-hmm. So now we got it down pat. We know what love is. Right. So kind of just breaking down, you got to learn yourself. You got to learn the real meaning of love. And then you can difference between love and infatuation, because majority of y'all is infatuated with one another, which is why we go in high schools and it's our first day here and they so in love with this person. And as we getting ready to leave out the school, they done had 3 other relationships in the time that we've been there.
Right. And it's crazy because one thing we know, infatuation starts off quick and it ends even quicker.
Yep.
Right. And the difference with love is it's more of a decision. Mm-hmm. Right. And we kind of, in a sense, dispelling that myth of we fell in love, right? As if did it require any decision, or it didn't require, you understanding what it is that you're getting yourself involved with. Right. So this whole episode, we really want to just show you guys that to think before you leave. We want you guys to actually understand what it is to love and what's not to love, and how to not allow yourself to get caught up in those situations or cycles, right? So let's take a look at what's influencing our definitions, right? We got so many different things. We got music, social media, peers. What is that thing that got the hold on our definitions? What is it?
I would say for the students that we deal with now, I think it definitely starts with social media, which is a peer. I feel like social media is still a peer-to-peer thing. Uh-huh. So it stems from social media, and then it goes peer-to-peer. I can even say, looking back for me now, in my time, we had MySpace. And you know how somebody feeling, or if they in love by what? When you click on that page and whatever song is playing. Mm-hmm. So I think that seeing a lot of people on social media present relationships and pictures and, like we're the happy couples with the comments and all these different things, it kind of sets the example. Now for this day and age with the TikToks and the Instagrams and influencers, their relationship standards is influenced by what they see. Mm-hmm. Hence the relationship goals that they place on certain celebrities or certain influencers.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because as a teenager, and not even just as a teenager, but as an adult, I may not be able to decipher what's real, what's not real, right? Because on social media, like most of us, we post our best moments, right? We don't show you the background. We don't show you the arguments. We don't show you the disagreements. We don't show you the toxicity, right? We just show you the end product or that happiness in the moment. And what happens is because we may not understand that, or we may come in blindly as we're scrolling, we may make long-term decisions based off something that may not be genuine or may not be real. And what we're telling you, we're not telling you that social media is bad. We're telling you, understand what's real, what's not. Understanding that, guess what? Just because, this said person or someone that you may admire may be doing this, doesn't mean that you have to apply what they're doing in your life. Especially if you don't know the consequences or repercussions that may come with that, right? So because, for example, say you see someone on social media, someone that you may see as an influence, and it says, well, if your man does not make, say, what, $25 million a year or just over 6 figures a year. I'm in high school, right? What's the likelihood that in high school I'm making 6 figures, right?
Oh, we see that all the time. These unrealistic standards. And it always strikes a conversation within the students like, man, you don't even work. You don't even got a job. Well, the girls, I don't have to have a job. You supposed to have a job. Or then it just turns to this big old debate and brawl, and then you see the peer-on-peer influence where that probably planted a seed in the boy that he has to be this high value man in order for him to impress, especially if he kind of like a girl and she's saying this is what her standard is, and vice versa.
All right, exactly, right? And it's creating these unrealistic expectations and pressures on individuals to create relationships around something that's false, a false narrative. And, we want to let you guys know that, not everything that comes across your feed, not everything that comes across your timeline or your Explore page is real, right? It's social media. It's an app for, social use, for us to interact with one another, for us to keep up with each other's lives. But sometimes where the danger is when we don't realize that this may not be real life. And this individual that I idolize or want to emulate, they may not be there to deal with the consequences when I make decisions, right? That goes as far as saying with the music. Oftentimes when we're in the schools, we, ask the kids, we ask the students, give me a modern day love song. Give me a song that you feel is touching on love, right? And if you look at the lyrics, you're like, let's put down the beat, let's put down the song, let's put down the instrumental, and just look at the lyrics for what it is. And they begin to read through those lyrics and understand. It's like, dang, Mr. Greg, this is not talking about love at all. I don't want no one to treat me like this, or I don't want to be treated like this, right? Why? Because once we encourage you to think, you begin to see through the fluff. You begin to see through what's supposed to be entertainment and what's supposed to be something that you're supposed to be allowing to influence your life, right? So why is it hard for us, even as grown-ups, why is it hard for us to differentiate between what's real, what's not?
I think we teach this thing called love chemicals, and it is always the 3, 6, 9 month rule, which this rule entails with wait 3, 6, 9 months for love chemicals to settle, the dopamine, the serotonin, all these things to settle so that you can see who that person truly is. Back to the emotional regulation that we talked about, episode 3, small plug, go ahead, watch episode 3. But the emotional regulation of it is that we jump into things before we actually categorize, is this person long-term? Is this person worthy? Are we at a place where we understand what we want from love and that we're not falling for infatuation? Now that's us speaking as adults that are experiencing things, but for a student or, the kids that we serve, sometimes it's really hard to break that narrative for them because their reality is the internet. Social media is their dictator. That's what basically guides the social guidelines for them.
Right.
So teaching them that, man, you're infatuated with this person. They look good on your timeline. They look good on your social media. They look good on you, and that's not a delayed gratification. That's a right now. I need that, and this person looks good. Boom, we're together. Also, I would like to challenge the kids that's listening too, and even my students when I'm talking to them. I like to bring up a lot of celebrity couples, and one that I like to really push to them is the Krishan and Blueface,
right? Because
a lot of students, they love their relationship. That is the top tier standard for them, and then there's some of them that's like, nah, that's toxic. I like it, but a little less, or I don't like it at all. So something that I always push to them is, okay, since you guys are infatuated with all these social media relationships and influencers and YouTubers, look at the statistics. How many of them go the long run? And if you can find me top 3 influence YouTube celebrities that has a long-term relationship, that it was not in a scandal, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, then we can talk about, should you be really be comparing? Is that the goal?
Mm-hmm. And that's key, right? And I realize, in a sense, almost it's almost as if there's a lack of healthy standards.
Yeah.
Right, in real life, beyond just social media, right? Because social media, it comes and goes. We can't really base reality off of it, right? There's a lack of the two-parent households, seeing a healthy relation, not perfect, but healthy relation dynamic within our neighborhoods, within our communities, right? So it's almost as if where there's a lack thereof, they need something else to fill it. And social media just so happens to be what fills it, unfortunately, right? So can I, to a point, can I continue with the narrative that just because I didn't see my parents or those in my neighborhood do it, should that be the reason I hang my hat on?
I think that in the beginning stages, you can definitely use that as a crutch.
Okay.
Now, as you grow older and you start to develop your own eyes to the world, it is no longer a crutch.
Okay.
I see a lot of kids in the schools, like you said, they lack it at home. So they come to school and they get in these relationships and they expect their partner to fulfill the lack of everything else. Now, what happens when you put a 15-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl together in a relationship, and two broken homes come together to form love, but neither of them ever experienced it or knew it? Mm-hmm. So I say that it is a crutch in the beginning, because you can't expect a child to imitate something that was never shown or taught to them. They were born into a situation, and unfortunately that's what life has shown them from the beginning. Now, once they start to develop and they kind of start seeing and knowing right from wrong, then you are fully accountable on how you move throughout life, because you can't go up to when you have to start paying bills and start to like even raise your own family. You can't go up to the bill collector or your family and say, yeah, I'm sorry, it's my parents' fault because what they did to me. No, it's now an accountability thing. It's now you already at a point where you kind of know what to do, or how to heal, or how to find resources, or how to have these conversations, or how to even go seek out, other means outside of you to create a new narrative, to develop these skills, to get out of the mindset of that infatuation stage. And not in just relationship. You can be infatuated with money, infatuated with fast life, infatuated with success, all these different things.
I like that, some keys that you said, right? Because, we are, and the students are not responsible for situations that they were born in, right? You didn't have a say into the neighborhood you was going to be born in. You didn't have a say into who your parents were going to be. You didn't have a say into none of that, their traumas and so on and so forth, right? There was a story being played out before you got here.
Yep.
But, and unfortunately, you may have suffered because of decisions that were made before you. However, to a point, when you know better, you do better, right? And that's one of the benefits and beauties of OIC. Because guess what? With these schools and which are surrounded by neighborhoods where these things are happening, on a high scale, we get to come in and interrupt that narrative again. I'm gonna keep using that. We get to come in and expose you to something that you may not be familiar to. It may even be foreign to what you're seeing on social media, what you're seeing in your immediate lifestyle. But guess what? We're giving you that handout so that you can eventually say, you know what? There is a life outside of this. There is a chance of potential healthy relationship. There is a way. There is another narrative, another story that I can accept. I can either, now you have an ultimatum. I can either choose this, the one I was born in, and accept this and deal with the consequences that come with that, or the what comes from that. Or I can choose what's being given to me at this moment. Though it may not change my situation right away, at least it gives me a starting point or launching pad for future. Right. And, unfortunately, again, like I said, we can't pick the situations we're born in. But guess what? OIC overall can come in to be that aid, because maybe the reason why you were born in situations is because financial issues.
Correct.
Right? Because you already know when there's poverty, where there's financial issues, social economic issues, people are more likely to be stressed. Stress may lead to unregulated behaviors. Can be drugs, can be substance abuse, some type of alleviation, right, from the pain or circumstances they may be in, right? But OIC can come in, and we as a partner can come in to help yourself. We can help you with the tools you need. We can help you get into job training you need. We can help you get those parenting classes. We can help you with the students understanding principles about social emotional learning and things about relationships as well. We can help you and come alongside you to be that support system that you may need, right? But it's more so be willing to, reach back once we give you that helping hand, right? Now, with the lack of exposure, with the lack of I want to say the influence of social media, something that you said that was key was the attachment. So could it be that, and I want you to emphasize on this a little more, could it be that because I lack some things, whether it be emotionally, financially, mentally, at home, that I may try to build relationships around this vacancy I have in my heart? Could it be?
Absolutely. So we also teach, when we go into the schools, there's 4 parts of maturity. Mm-hmm. So what we teach the students in these 4 parts of maturity is that when these are things that are required. So you have physical maturity, you have physical maturity, social, all these maturities that we were teaching. Mm-hmm. When you lack them in your adolescence, it does fill holes, because if mentally at home I'm not supporting you in that maturity or the affectionate part of touch, I'm not touching you or I'm not hugging you, you're going to go find that somewhere else because it was never fully developed how it needs to be. This is not us, trying to look down on them, but this is like facts. This is a well study that shows that when kids lack these things, they go out and they search for it. Mm-hmm. But kids don't understand that. They think that it's just like, oh no, this is just how I am. No, there is a learning gap. Mm-hmm. That has to be taught. And if the first time you get this experience, it's in a negative situation, that is what's going to fill that hole. But we know it's temporary, mm-hmm. because when they go out and they try to seek these quick fills to these holes, it always ends up to worse situations, worst case scenarios. Mm-hmm. Well, let me not say it always ends out, but 90% of the time it can lead to that.
Right. And that's key, because it's almost as if, because I have this vacancy and this area that I need, this need, that genuine need that I have, whether it be emotionally, physically, or mentally, is this almost as if I put on this, by any means necessary, I will get this need met.
Yeah.
Right? And what do you do as a student, as a teenager, right? And parents listening to this, if I want this emotional need met or this physical need met, but it comes with abuse. What if I try to get this mental or a quality time met, or this financial need met, but it comes with manipulation and abuse, right? It comes with control. It comes with violence. It comes with all types of things that you wouldn't want yourself to go through, a sibling to go through, or even a son or daughter to go through, right? So when you're in this need and you're deprived from this need, or this need may have not been cultivated or developed, you don't care how you get it as long as it's met. Mm-hmm. And what we're saying is, from being that we're talking about love versus infatuation, a lot of relationships start in high school, middle school, because of a lack of need at times. Sometimes it's not just them, as parents would like to say, them being fast. Sometimes it's not just them, them not be able to regulate their sexuality. Sometimes it may have started as an emotional need or physical need or financial need being met, and then end up turning to that. Right? What if they can't differentiate between what's love and infatuation? What if they come from a household that all they see is loud speaking, anger, abuse? They need safety. So they're going to go wherever it may seem safe and may not be able to differentiate between what's actually safe or good for them versus something that may be toxic or dangerous for them in the future. Right? And it's crazy because sometimes, and LaQuisha, I know you can attest to this, 15, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds talking like having grown folk problems.
Grown folks problems.
I'm like, okay, like, what's going on? Because
grown folks problems.
It's crazy because, but here's the key. With infatuation, which is part of the reason why these organizations and these grants start and us being in the schools start, is because we notice there's a correlation between the students' academic behavior or the academics and unhealthy relationship. They correlate. Once a child is in a toxic relationship, it comes with stress. It comes with distraction. It comes with the lack of focus. And guess what? Eventually, it may reflect on the grades. It may reflect on their interactions with their friends, right? They may become isolated, right? Because when you're in a relationship with someone who have started in infatuation, who may be unfortunately an abuser, it comes with isolation. It comes with brainwashing. It comes with manipulation. It comes with a lot of these things, right? Because why? A need was not met at home, because a need may have not been cultivated, right? Because a need may not have been identified, right? So with these relationships, we're saying from our perspective, we don't want you to be in them. Why? Because the consequences are too severe. Right, we're saying this. We don't want you to be in them because we see your time, your body, your mind, your overall being as far more valuable than to succumbing to these situations. Now, if you're a teenager and you're a student and you have gone through the situation, guess what? That doesn't have to be your end. You don't have to accept that narrative, because guess what? You may have not known better. Let's assume that, right? Or you may have known better, but you just so happen to be in a weak moment. You don't have to stay there. You can start over at any point. You can, pick up a different perspective at any point, and you can even use the tools that we're giving you at any point, so that your outcome is not the way it was in your past, right?
Just into, as we wrap it up too, with love, just understanding, because I know we're saying a lot with infatuation, and we're telling you guys, like, the difference between it. With love is more of a long term. Like, you choose to wake up every day and love that person you're with out of love. Now, with infatuation, when you're infatuated with someone, it's more of a short term, because once those love chemicals wear out, 9 times out of 10, you're gone, because it was just that mere moment of feeling something, or maybe you did genuinely like that person, but that person was not a long-term person for you. So understanding that love, you can learn love not only in a relationship, but how people love you, how people, steward you. And a lot of times I see it in certain schools where I go, and I'm like, when I leave, I'm like, hey, I love y'all. And they like, you don't even know me, miss. You don't even love me. But understanding, I don't have to know you or have to receive anything back from you to love you. I love you enough to know that you're teenagers, and I'm giving you information with hopes that it'll plant seeds and later on in life develop to the greaterness of your future. That is the type of love that I'm giving you. So understanding different types of love cultivate in different forms, but understanding that there's a difference between loving and infatuating someone. Definitely.
That's key. And just to hang on this note, just to give you some symptoms that come with infatuation, or symptoms that may come with love, so you can go back and diagnose yourself with this, right? So here's some symptoms with infatuation: urgency, so quickness; intensity; sexual desire; anxiety; high risk choices, right? Reckless abandonment of what was once valued, whether it be family, a hobby, a habit, or something that you may have loved or enjoyed, but because you're in this relationship, you deviated from it. And let's look at some symptoms of love: faithfulness, loyalty, confidence. What is key? Willingness to make sacrifices for another, right? Ooh. Working at settling differences, so communication and maturity, right? Able to compromise, so it can't just go your way all the time, so that either both win or at least give the other person's an opinion a chance, right? Those are some of the symptoms that may come. So to differentiate with hey man, Mr. Gray, I thought I was in love, but it seems like my relationship kind of emulates more so infatuation, right? Or I may be reaffirming something. You know what? At first I thought I didn't love this person, but you know what? I saw these symptoms, I'm gonna keep going on. I'm gonna keep cultivating this thing so that it can eventually turn out to something good and long term, right? So those are some of the things that we want to leave you guys with. Always saying is, understand the difference between social media and reality, understanding between the music and the entertainment industry, and try not to make decisions based off what's something that's supposed to be entertainment versus reality, right? And understand, just because you may not have seen that immediate example in your household, guess what? You don't have to settle with that narrative. If you get the information that we're giving you or information from other places, you can do better. If you know better, you do better. Episode 4, season 1, in the bag. Thanks for watching the Hallwaze podcast,
where we navigate the hallways of life, Like and subscribe.